On July 12, 1977, tragedy struck the town of South Congaree in Lexington County, South Carolina, when Ralph Samuel Stoudemire was brutally murdered at his service station. Born in 1932, Stoudemire was a 44-year-old husband and father whose life ended in a shocking act of violence that would later shape the state's history with capital punishment. His killers, half-brothers J.D. Gleaton and Larry Gilbert, carried out the crime while under the influence of drugs, setting into motion a decades-long legal battle that culminated in one of South Carolina's most notable executions. The crime unfolded when Gleaton approached Stoudemire pretending to buy cigarettes. Instead, he pulled a hunting knife and began stabbing him. Moments later, Gilbert entered and shot Stoudemire. The brothers fled the scene with a pocketbook belonging to Stoudemire's wife. Tragically, the victim's own son witnessed the attack and found his father mortally wounded. Despite efforts to save him, Stoudemire died about 45 minutes later. An autopsy revealed the extent of the violence: a gunshot wound to the chest, slash wounds to both wrists, and 5 stab wounds to the torso. One stab pierced his heart, causing his death. Authorities quickly arrested Gleaton and Gilbert the following day. Both confessed to the murder and were tried in Lexington County. On October 7, 1977, a jury found them guilty and sentenced them to death under South Carolina's newly enacted capital punishment statute, which had only been introduced a month earlier. This marked the beginning of more than 2 decades of legal proceedings. The case went through a long series of appeals. In 1979, the South Carolina Supreme Court upheld their convictions but vacated the death sentences, requiring a new sentencing trial. At this second hearing in 1980, another jury once again imposed the death penalty. Appeals continued, with the state's high court affirming the sentences in 1981 and the U.S. Supreme Court refusing to intervene in 1982 and again in 1984. A dramatic turn occurred in 1996 when a federal district court granted the brothers a new trial, ruling that the original jury instructions improperly implied that simply using a weapon was evidence of malice, a point inconsistent with a 1988 U.S. Supreme Court decision. In 1997, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld this ruling, vacating both convictions. However, in January 1998, the same court reversed itself and reinstated the convictions and sentences, finding that the error had been harmless. By October 1998, the U.S. Supreme Court dismissed their final appeals, clearing the way for execution. On December 4, 1998, after more than 21 years on death row, both Gleaton and Gilbert were executed by lethal injection at the Broad River Correctional Institution. Larry Gilbert was pronounced dead at 6:37 p.m., followed by J.D. Gleaton at 7:16 p.m. Their executions marked the first time South Carolina carried out a double execution since the reinstatement of capital punishment in 1976, and to this day, it remains the state's only modern double execution. Nationally, it is one of only 6 instances of brothers being executed together since capital punishment was reinstated. The aftermath of this crime extended beyond the courtroom. Ralph Stoudemire's widow, Betty Slusher, became a leading advocate for victims' rights in South Carolina. She devoted herself to ensuring that victims' families were given a voice in the justice system, believing that her advocacy honored her late husband's memory. Slusher remained active in this work until her death in 2016, at the age of 82.